So I've got Liv here. Thank you so much for coming on, Liv, and answering the questions that I've got for you regards to the combine. So thank you so much for joining me today. All right. So I've got some questions that I want you to answer, just in general about your football experience, football history, obviously related to the combine because that's the main purpose of this. But also just want to pick your brain about your thoughts on women's football and the progression of it in general. So let's get started. So, what made you want to play football slash soccer at a high level?
I feel like that's really the question that everyone is at least trying to figure out. Is that that's kind of the question that gets you through hard times if you know why you're here and why you want to do this. And I'm really not sure. I don't have like a single answer. I think it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I've always kind of trained for something that I want to do. But I think it comes down to joy. I mean, push at a higher level. Like there's a certain buzz to the game when you're playing at a higher level, and it's super fun. So I think it comes down to just the happiness, and you want to keep that happiness there. Keep going.
Wow, that's such a good answer. Holy crap. It's so good. And it's such a genuine thing, too, because I mean, we've seen in our experience, and obviously when things don't go exactly to plan, that if you don't love what you're doing, the bull crap can definitely get in the way. So it's important to actually love it because crap happens and it can hit the fan, and there's a lot of outside factors. So if you don't love it, it's not always worth it. So wow, that was such a great answer. Okay, wow. First question, first answer. Love it. All right.
Yeah.
Next question. What is your soccer background? So like your previous levels, like clubs and college, all that jazz.
So right now I'm playing at a D3 school in Los Angeles, and it's a pretty small school. I mean, it's a D3 school. There's like 2,000 kids at the school, and the soccer level is pretty low. I started out at a different school more in my hometown because I'm from Colorado. Um, and it was a D2 school, and again, like it was an all right level. I think that honestly, a lot of college soccer, it's not really my type of soccer. And I've never played at a super high level. Um, I played club soccer for not a super high club. I'm kind of from the middle of nowhere, so I had to drive an hour and a half to even get to this kind of mid-sized club where we play in maybe like a second or third division of like Colorado soccer. So it's not ECNL or DA or anything like that. Um, and I just started out in my hometown in like a local club. So never played super high level soccer. Um, and I think that's because I haven't had a lot of access to it. Like living in Los Angeles here now, I'm finally have access to it. I can seek out clubs and play with really good players, and I really enjoy that. But like I said, I mean, I've always been kind of pushing to get myself to a higher level just because it's so much fun to play with really great players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that when we talk about level, people forget it's not always about your talent that's involved in the level that you can play in. Sometimes it's just luck of the draw of what state you were born in, and the area that you have access to or the colleges that you go to. So I think that the fact that you are now in an area where you can be exposed to higher level players and some higher level football, it's really, really good. And let me tell y'all, just for the listeners of this podcast, Liv is dope. Like the foot skills with this one are insane, and it would be criminal to not see her play at a higher level, especially overseas. So I'm gonna tell you right now, personal mission of mine is to get this girl overseas at some point in her career because it would be a crime not to see you play at higher levels. But just the fact that you speak so optimistically, but also realistically about your current situation, but also the opportunities that are just available or lack thereof for where you are, where you were, and as a woman player as well. So, but that's just this is I'm not even concerned about you going somewhere. It's a matter of the opportunity and if it's good enough for you because you are definitely good enough for other teams. I can tell you that right now. Um, so next question, how did you hear about the combine in the first place?
It's actually an Instagram post, and I think it might be at least a lot of other people heard about it. I just saw an Instagram ad at a point in time. It was maybe in October, November, where my college season was ending and I was beginning to look at other opportunities because I had that moment where I'm like, I've thought about I want to keep playing before. That's something that's been in my mind, but now it's real, and there's like a sense of like dread inside me. Like this can't be over. This can't be my last season. And I saw that, so I'm like, well, I'm throwing out as many opportunities as I can get. So I just clicked, I put my name in, scheduled a call.
Wow, it's so crazy how like back in the day versus now of how you can find out about stuff like, oh, an Instagram ad. That's so crazy to
It
think,
really
like, oh
is.
yeah, Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's definitely
So,
opened up a lot of doors.
oh yeah, social media has changed the game completely. Absolutely. Oh, right. Next question. So, what were you expecting versus the reality of the outcome of the combine?
I wasn't really expecting anything because this is kind of something where I was kind of throwing my name out there. I saw that Danny and Fake connections, and based on the Zoom call that I got on with them, they seemed like really great people and they seemed very genuine. So I was expecting that. And actually, when I got there, that kind of exceeded expectations because they're wonderful. Um, like I really felt connected and like believed in, which I think that's a big part of what they were trying to do. Um, One thing that really exceeded expectations, which is kind of funny, was just the gear that they gave us. I was like, this is a lot. This is really cool. I still wear this stuff. Um, but yeah, I didn't really know what to expect. It was kind of something where you're just kind of going, which I feel like that's what you have to do with a lot of these experiences where you're like trialing and going, trying to play professionally. You kind of just have to go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to take a chance on it and yourself and just hope that it, comes back in your favor as much as you're putting towards the opportunity to work out. So it's just really I think it's so funny that you mentioned the gear because even as someone who came on as like a guest player, I guess, and like support for the staff, when I was looking in the boxes of all the gear, I was like, holy crap, this is so much stuff. Like, I hope these girls have extra space in their luggage to take it home because it was genuinely that much gear.
Definitely, I was like thinking, how am I going to take all this home to carry extra stuff on outside of the pack?
Thinking you have to pay extra money for all the extra weight. Um, okay, so you kind of spoke about it, like meeting your expectations, exceeding it in terms of some levels, but just in general, from the football side, as a player, for you went there for the purpose of wanting to be seen and getting your talent out there. Do you think it met your expectations, or do you think as a first draft, it definitely has some room for improvement?
To be honest, I think it does have room for improvement. Just because it is the first time that I gotta get over it. Okay, sorry about that.
Please drive safe.
I almost missed my exit. I little bit distracted, but should be good. Now it's just a straight shot to the ocean. So, um, okay. It exceeded my expectations, in terms of, okay, let me rephrase this question now that I'm on a single highway. I think it definitely has some room for improvement just because it is the first time they're going around. I think, um, just like organizationally, it's something that can pretty easily be cleaned up now that they'll know next time what to do. The soccer side of things, I felt like it was a decent level that we brought. Like I felt with the trainings, I felt like, like there's a little bit of like buzz, like pinging the ball around pretty well. Um, and especially playing like that second team, like you could tell that that was a very good level. Like that's a level that I'd want to play at. And I'm sure that like I know that there's levels even above that that can aspire to. Um, I mean, I think there are some factors that are a bit out of control for like a first time combine to kind of deal with, such as like the weather. I know that they've had to figure out what are we doing now that the field is covered in snow. So training indoors is not really ideal for preparing for a game. Um, but that's definitely other things that can be like changed for next time. I think the football side of things was, um, as good as it could be for certain circumstances.
I think that's fair. I think it would be a bit ingenuine to be like, "Oh my God, it was perfect," when like we know firsthand that things were not perfect. But at the end of the day, when it's your first time doing something like that, especially when you've got, technically just two people on staff who created the whole thing, and then they're trying to bring in other people, and then you add in the weather and not being able to control people showing up or not showing up and the fields, all of that. So I think with all those things considered, obviously things could be improved and be a bit more organized. But I have to agree. I think that in terms of football, I think the second team that we played was very much a good determinant of what level you guys can all be playing at and what you want to be playing at. And like you said, even higher, because I mean, you start high and always aim higher. And I mean, as I mentioned before, I think you're so capable of playing at that level. So I'm excited to see where your career goes from here, because this is not college soccer is not the end for you, Liv. I refuse to let that happen to you. I know you refuse to let that be your end of your story too. So I'm just glad that this combine was a good first step in getting your face
Yeah.
over here in Europe, because I just think that the way that you play is it's so applicable to especially German football. I think that you in the midfield of a German team would just be absolutely dangerous. So I mean, we can get into a personal discussion about how I feel about your football. But next question. Um, do you feel opportunities like this can change the game for women's football overseas?
Absolutely. Um, I mean, I think it was kind of random that I found this opportunity, but I felt like at least the majority of the girls there, the women there, we were all kind of people who really wanted to go after like playing professionally, maybe didn't have like the ideal opportunities. Because I know that like some of the women that I play with now on like this club team, I think have had a lot more access to certain opportunities where maybe you would take a chance and like randomly go to Germany with like something that's completely untested, just because you have a more clear route, more connections, that type of. All the women who are there very talented, maybe haven't had access to those types of opportunities yet, and really willing to take a chance. And for women like that, like this definitely changes things, because it's such a great opportunity to put your name out there and really be exposed to what you are capable of doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially as us Americans thinking about when you finally get over here and you get exposed firsthand to the level that you could be playing at. And when you've been playing in, I mean, even D3 level in the States is still so much higher than a lot of the levels of football here in Germany. And just because that's how our setup is of, college and just the huge population that we have. But then you come over, and then once you're actually here and you're like, wait a minute, I can definitely make it here. It's just a matter of getting here. So I think that opportunities like this are just going to continue to open doors. And especially for women like you who take a chance on the first go round of something like this, your name is in the pot now. You are in the circle of names being thrown around. And so when things come around, in the future, and when things, in terms of the combine that I'm looking to partner and help with in the future, we're definitely looking to improve a lot of the factors that hinder a lot of people taking the chance, like the cost of things and flight and location. And so when those things start to improve, and for women like you that already have that first step in there of saying, well, I took a chance on the first round and it may not have been perfect, but now you are first in line for round number two, So it's really important that people can even hear about opportunities like this to get their foot in the door. So I think it's really awesome. And I'm really, really proud of you taking that risk and that opportunity, because it's terrifying to do something like that off of a whim. But for any opportunity you can to show people what you've got, I just think it's absolutely worth it. And I think that you did a great job of showing what you've got. So, all right, next question. How do you think this experience compares to showcases at home?
I haven't been to any showcases here for professional teams. But I could compare it to showcases for college. I mean, I've been to single day ID camps for college. Um, and I guess it's a little bit of a different setup. I honestly, I'm not sure I can fully answer the question because I haven't been to a type of like showcase where you're there for an entire week. But I mean, it's similar in the fact that like you have training sessions, you have like games, things like that. I mean, the training in football is all the same.
Okay, awesome. I mean, to be honest, I really asked this question because everyone has their own version or experiences of showcases. And I, you said ID camp and you brought back memories for me. I forgot about ID camps. And it's like people don't realize if you've got like 1 to 2 days to just put it all out there versus we did a 10-day combine. And then, like you said, sometimes they're a week, sometimes they're just a weekend. So there's so many different variations of these types of experiences. So I think for you going from like 1 day ID camp to 10-day combine experience is just such a drastic difference. And I'm really glad that you had the opportunity to do something that had a bit more time involved. And and we even said it, like if we had one more week together as a team, oh my God, I think that it would have just the all the pieces I think would have kind of come into place a bit more. But the 10 days, I think the 10 days without all the hiccups would have been like a really good amount of time. You're not away from home too long where you're not, all the responsibilities that you guys still had aren't being completely put on the back burner, but you're also there long enough to actually feel like you're getting footing and you're not just there and gone within a weekend.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. And last question. So this is a bit of a brain teaser one. So would you prefer an overseas combine like we did, or a trial with a single pro team in the States? Like NWSL, they know about you, you've got a trial, you've got an opportunity, or the combine?
I think right now, honestly, I'd prefer a trial overseas just because where I'm at right now, I want to try to explore new things, so that's what I'd be more interested in. And also, as style wise for soccer, I'm definitely interested more in playing overseas compared to like NWSL, very physical, direct style of play.
Yeah, it's very, very physical based. I mean, everyone in Europe, when they hear I'm from America, they're like, oh, so you're just strong and you
Yeah,
use your speed. I'm like, yep, that's about how I was raised on the field. Like, oh, you're fast. Okay, you've got some muscle. Go in the weight room, get a bit stronger, use your speed and score. Whereas, like, here, which is why I said I think that you would just flourish over here. Like, you've got so much technical and tactical awareness that it's just exactly how they play here. I mean, it's physical. Like don't get us wrong, people. The Germans do throw bodies, but the overall concept behind their play of football is just so technical and tactical, and it's very like methodical. Like they think about why they're doing things the way that they do it, and it feels more like they take the time to look at the personnel in the formation rather than just saying, "Here's our best 11 athletes," and just putting them on a field.
yeah, no, I'm definitely excited to play that type of football. Very excited.
I'm excited for you too. But that's all the questions that we've got for today. I do want to ask just in general, as somebody who was the first go round of an experience for something like this, is this something that you would recommend to other young women looking for professional opportunities?
Yeah, I definitely would. Um, Actually, I already talked to one of my teammates who is trying to do this, and I was telling her like, I think it's a great way to get out there and just see what you can do. I think it's a great opportunity.
Oh, wow. It's so great to hear you talking to other women football players about it because that's also a part of the process. Like you take the chance and you go out there yourselves, but you bring home the knowledge that you gained and you're a firsthand experience of a rough draft of something that really has a lot of potential. And I just can't wait to see where things go from here in terms of the combine and in terms of the career of all you young women who took a chance to come out here and excel your careers. So, I mean, the future is very, very bright. And I know that it's, especially with women's football, it's not exactly easy or smooth, but things are moving, wheels are turning. I know even in Canada with their national team taking strikes, and we know our U.S. women's national team has taken several strikes. So I think women are kind of sick of the bull crap, and we're ready to step up and defend ourselves, and we know our worth. And so I think opportunities like this just will show a more diverse layer of women overseas because I don't think there's enough Americans getting exposure to this type of football. And I think that if we could adapt this style and then bring it back home, wow, American football is just going to be that much better.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's very exciting to see and hear about all the changes and kind of be up in women's soccer.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me for the podcast, Liv. I know you were driving. This is a commitment, people. This is what women's football is about. We do interviews while we're driving safely. She's driving safe, no hands on the phone. She's doing everything legal. But thank you so much for taking the time. I'm pretty sure
Driving.
it's like butt crack of dawn for you right now. So also the dedication of getting up and having brain stimulation at the moment is crazy. So I appreciate you and your time very much.
I was gonna be up anyways. Perfect.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was so good to see your face and talk to you.
Thanks for having me. It was great to talk to you. Okay.
All right, drive safe. We'll speak soon.
It's great to talk to you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. All right. Bye.